Hi there, folks. Just before we get into today's video, I just want to say thank you. We've just hit 24,000 subscribers. It's coming out a few days after, but thank you so much for hitting that mark. I was checking that this time last year, I had just over 5,000, and now the exact same point a year on, we're at nearly 25,000, and that is like the craziest thing to me. So thank you so much for the support. Who knows what will be this time next year? I mean, if you continue to show me this sort of support, I mean, I don't know. It could be mental. So let's see. But again, from me to you, not a funny intro. Just a thank you for the support from now and from the past, and hopefully on towards the future. So we love with care. Let's get into today's video intro. Okay then, we have just completed our second season in the Premier League, and I wanted to have a little run through of some of the things that are going on in and around the club, basically. Who did well last season and who potentially get moved on this season. Have a little chat with you about some of those things. So if we take a look at these are the statistics, the overall statistics for the season, and who did what and how well people did. If we start with average rating, then you can see on the left hand side, the Harps didn't play a massive amount of games, but had the best average rating. Nathan Joshua, who played again 13 starts, didn't have a massive amount of games, and those are the players that did. Barry, Villalba, and Peter were certainly up there. And when Kendall Peters was around, he had a very good season for us as well. And a few other maybe surprise faces. Denelin, might not think of him as being a top performer, but has a very good season with Marius and the online Murata, who we may well try and get back next season. Who knows? I mean, I know, and I would like to. So speaking of Alvaro Murata, he and Kendall Peters scored 11 goals for us this season in not an amount of not that many appearances. If you think if those two had played together, we might have been able to get a top half finish quite comfortably. Between them, 11 goals each, 16 games for one of them, 18 for another. And Kendall Peters still out 4 months now. Well, between 2 and 4 months. It's very vague, but I'm thinking that probably by about October he'll be back, which would be nice. But yeah, it's sad to see him out of the team, and if he comes back and plays as well as he did when he was here, then we should be fine. Other goal scorers: Nathan Joshua, Marius, the Harp, the Madge, the Harp and the Madge. Miguel Renard obviously didn't score a great deal of goals, but when he did score, it meant a lot. And if we look at the assists as well, Peter up there, another player now that is out injured. Two of our brightest sparks from this season are both suffering from long-term injuries, which sucks really. But Peter on that right side, 17 assists, almost Jeff Thomas numbers. Barry on the left-hand side, and then sort of a selection of many others. A lot of players having 2 assists this season. Interestingly, quite a lot of the defenders up there as well. So yeah, player of the matches. Barry tops this. 4 player of the matches. Didn't get a great deal. When you think about how many games we play, more often than not, we weren't getting the man of the match award. They were getting it. The other team were getting it. So yeah, nice to see Barry with 4 of them though. Pass completion. Lots of people that don't play a great number of games are very high up on this list. But if you look sort of around the plus 20 mark, you can see Villalba there with 80%, very good. 77% for someone like Denelin, who I've already highlighted as being a top performer, and Julian Books are relatively high up, but not high enough. I want these sort of, I probably want 20 players above 75%, and that seems a lot, but it's not enough. There's too many players down here, especially in defensive areas, that have poor pass completions, and it's something we have to look to improve next season. A couple of ball-playing defenders won't go amiss. Tackles per game, as you might expect, the 4 or 5 or 6 defenders that we've had throughout the season top those. Dribbles per game, again, as you might expect, wingers, strikers, covering a lot of that. Barry, Peters, Joshua Renard, Hose and Peter, and the Madge, Jeff Thomas. As I say, strikers and wingers, so they do the most dribbles. Shots on target percentage, I think if we look at striking-wise, Peter, who's a winger, had a very high percentage. The Madge, Marius, Renard and the Harp all had very high percentages as well. But interestingly, the guys that scored the goal, Murata, quite low down comparably to a few others. And if we take a quick look at Kendall Peters was right down here, 45%, but with 11 goals in 18, you can't really complain. Yellow cards, Mike Lenz got himself injured probably by tackling someone. And red cards, only 3 red cards this season. Nash, Denelin and Mike Lenz with those. Mike Lenz currently out on loan but injured, so yeah. So that leaves us with quite a big squad. I've called up all the players that have been injured into the same squad. Obviously a few of these guys are going to leave on loan. So actually if you remove those players just for a moment, if you remove those players, this is the squad that we're left with. We've got 2 goalkeepers, Jedsteer, who we're ignoring for now. Defensively, we're okay, but we've still got players like the Fire and Jim Nash that could potentially be moved on. Interesting to see what we do with Michael Ross next season, who looks to be okay. Certainly a second choice left back, but not a starter at this stage. Central midfield, we've got a lot of players that are there or thereabouts. I'm going to move a few on. Players like Jack Partington. Oh, I'm saying that. Jack Partington probably won't be around next season, have to be moved on. The same probably goes for someone, and this will surprise a lot of you, that Nathan Joshua's contract runs out. I've offered a new one. He wants £30,000 a week. He's 27. I just feel like if I can spend £30,000 a week on someone, I can probably get someone better than Nathan Joshua. And I may have already got a replacement for Nathan Joshua. Wink. We're June 3rd, so just bear that in mind. I might show you at the end. I'll show you at the end. As we move further forward, then Diego Costa's probably going to depart, as well as one of these strikers has got to leave. It's the simple facts of it all. Kendall Peters I want to keep. Probably want to keep the Madge. The Harp has got a job for life here if he wants it. But Renard and Marius, one of them is going to have to leave, and I'm not sure who that's going to be. Maybe it'll be both of them, which is sad, but I think we need to improve. Like, it's all well and good being sentimental, right? But we have to actually improve. I mean, players like Renard, who again, he's solid. Those arrows don't suggest he's improving. But at 24, he's good, but he's not quite good enough. 2-star ability is not quite there for us. And the same goes for Marius. It's a very familiar story that his mentals lack a little something, as do his physicals and arguably his technicals. So all round, he lacks something. He's a wanted man, so maybe Hull City could be... Oh, I'm so sorry, Marius. Why has it come to this? But you see my point, that we can't continue to be sentimental. That said, Jeff Thomas, Andy Tannoy, and as already mentioned, the Harp are here for life. If they want to be. I mean, I can't hold them here. I say I can't hold them here. Andy Tannoy is not a good example of that. So, we finished 11th. What I'm going to quickly do is run through the other league tables. I know a lot of people often ask, oh, where is this team? Where are this team? So what I'm going to do is over the next 20 seconds, if you want to pause on any of this, then you can do. There's the Premier League. There's the Championship. Palace, Leicester and Leeds will join me next season. Any surprises in there? Quite a lot of Premier League teams of now in that selection. You think of Swansea, Norwich, Villa, except, well, I'll say Villa. Villa. But you get 1 point. Some decent players there. Ben Tierney with the highest average rating in the division for Reading. Obviously, we had him for a year in the Championship and he did very well for me. Seems like his form has continued. League One, nice to see with the Swindon lot have gone up. Good to see. If you're interested, pause it. And the same for League Two. If you're interested in any of this, do have a pause and have a look around. But yeah, I can't see anything that jumps off the page at me for maybe an old face, but no, never mind. While we're here, there's the National League. FC United of Manchester. Oh, they're getting close to league football. Blimey, that are worrying. Boston United as well. I've been 8th. I wonder how their square pitch is doing. They had a lot of managerial changes this year. Oh dear. Now let's look at some competitions we would quite like to be a part of. We'll start, of course, with the Champions League. Different winners. Arsenal have won it. Manchester City have won it 3 times in the last 6 years, 7 years even. Bayern Munich, I say Arsenal, PSG. The final this year was between Inter Milan and Bayern Munich. Quite nice to see an old team like Inter get back to former glory. And David Alaba still playing highest average rating in the Champions League at 34 years of age. That man can do it all. I wonder if I fancy a move to Salford. Quick look at the Europa League, see if there's anything interesting there. Oh, the teams that have won it are curious, actually. Porto, Inter, Arsenal, Sporting, Valencia, Tottenham and Roma. Obviously a competition I'd certainly want to be in next year. The Champions League probably a little bit far away, but this is the real aim, to get into this Europa League and play some of these titans of Europe with Salford City. That's the real game. So yeah, let's see how we do next season, and hopefully the Europa League will come a-calling. Could have got to the FA Cup final, could have got a qualification, but never mind. I know a lot of people get interested by this sort of thing. This is the international rankings in terms of world rankings. I mean, I don't know where I was going with that. Argentina, Brazil, Portugal, Spain, and France are the top 5. England is down in 13th, if you're wondering. Scotland on this list? 38th. Not Democratic Republic of Congo are above them. Where have Wales gone? I mean, Gareth Bale's retired. Wales are the 41st. So again, if you're interested in any of that, let me know. Any shocks in there? I guess Switzerland continue to be as high as they are. A bit of a shock, but good on them. You might think as well, where's Salford standing within world football in terms of estimated value? Where do we sit? Well, we're not in the top 34, but if you scroll down a little bit, 49th, we have a higher value than LA Galaxy, Derby County, Augsburg, Fenerbahce, Udinese, Southampton. There's a few teams there that we're overtaking, and another good season, and we'll be up there. I mean, I don't know whereabouts we'll be, but I mean, Shakhtar, we're coming for you. PSG, Chelsea, and Tottenham very high on the list. The most interesting to note about the top 10 is that Barcelona are 10th on the list. That's, yes, a fall from grace, I would say. Oh, this is where we don't top the season. We don't top the season ticket list. But speaking of stadiums, would you like some stadium news? Okay, this is what we got at the end of the season then. The board have set the initial budgets, 40 million to spend and nearly $1 million in wages per week, which is massive. As you can see here, it was a few days ago now, it's the 24th. The board announced plans for the new stadium. They've been planning it for the last year, and in 2 years' time, we will be playing at Salford Stadium. I mean, it's not a fancy name, is it? Salford Stadium, but Salford Stadium is the name. It's going to be 24,354 capacity. We took out a loan and we got some funding to help as well. So, yeah, I think we get $1 million a year for sort of the renting, or not the renting, the sponsorship of the stadium. But yeah, it's going to cost around £33 million. We've certainly got the money to do it. We'll get $1 million for more lane. I mean, is it even worth it at this point? Give it away to the community. But yeah, new stadium. Very excited. Not only that though, but they're going to upgrade the youth and training facilities, which is great. And our youth category has finally got up from category 4 to category 3. It's going to cost us a little bit more money, but yeah, the fact we're a category 3 or category 4 youth category or improved youth category, yeah, it shows really how low we are for the place that we're in, and this is reality of what happens when you take a team from Salford, like Salford, from this stage to the Premier League. So then let's quickly wrap this up. This is the team of the season. Just move me over there a minute, or there, somewhere over there. This is the team of the year then. Mark Park in goal, Colombino, João Paulo, Rekic, Torres at the left side. That was the 4-4-2 was a familiar lineup for a long time for us. Barry on the left, Peter on the right. Denanin and Villalba in the middle, and Kendall Peters and Renard get the spots up front. But again, shout outs to Morata, who had a very good season. Nathan Joshua had a good year also. So yeah, that's the team. Shall we look at the overall 11? That is considered our overall 11. Still a lot of old faces within that. Jay Lynch still remains in goal, which I quite like. Jim Nash, the Fire. Mikael Pucker, Steve Hall on the left side. Harrop, Pedersen, Jeff Thomas, Rob Wellington, the Harper, Marius. Not a lot of players that have come into the team, at least in the Premier League years, are in this. You can see how pivotal some of these players are. Players like the Fire, 272 appearances. I'm not sure if anyone will break that within this save. I'm not sure we'll go long enough to find out. But yeah, Jeff Thomas could certainly break it, but currently the Fire all-time record appearances and all-time goals still goes to the Harp. 78 goals for the Harp. So yeah, that's our overall 11. I mean, some of these boys, like Jay Lynch, when are you going to retire? When can I get you in as coaches? I've already got Danny Webber though, that's enough. Emmanuel Kenser, 30 years of age, still do a job. Anya, still rapid. And there it is then. That is the rise we had through the lower divisions up till now. And as I say, we've just had a 16th place. No, actually, this is behind. We had a higher place finish. We had an 11th place finish as of this season. But you can see the rise we've been on has been quite dramatic. We had a very iffy spell at the start. I think you'd agree. A lot of bottle job moments. We then had 4 years, which were great. 2 years in the 3 years in the Championship, which were just torture. Finally got into a playoff spot, got to the Premier League, and now look at us here, 11th place in the Barclays Premier League. Peter on the highest assists in the Premier League. Injuries have hurt us this year, but next year, as I say, we're going for a top 7 at least, and hopefully that gets us an automatic European spot. There we are then. Let's end it there. Oh, one more thing. I may have signed someone already. He's not here yet, but he's coming. I'm coming home, I'm coming home. Tell the world that I'm coming home. Peter Phillips is back. I'll see you next episode. Goodbye. I don't want to talk about his wages. Don't talk about his wages.